Hello and welcome to Earth School. Class is in session. Today, we are covering a very valuable lesson. And that lesson, did you guys see that? My ADHD or whatever. It's not, I don't have ADHD. I don't know if it exists, but I got distracted. Just by that little fuzzy that was floating in the air. But everybody, there are 168 hours in a week. Did you know this? Most people don't even think about it. But being able to prioritize our time in accordance with the fact that there are 168 hours in a week is extremely valuable. So this sheet here is, again, from the Real Lifestyle packet, which is super helpful. I'll put the link up again today. This is a free 10 steps to alignment for anyone who is looking to get to know themselves better. I highly recommend reallifestyle.com/FREEE. This is the link that I would recommend you going to in order to get this lesson. And let's see, I might be able to link it down in the lesson below for those of you within the community. The Real Lifestyle 168 hours is something that really changed my life, like very much so. As you can see here, my page, I review this every single day. It's super crumply, but it's because it works. I'm constantly auditing myself. You can see here, it's got the main, wrong side. Your main task is going to take up 70 hours of the week. And you've got within that, your supplemental for 20 hours, and your main task is 50 hours. So, for example, your calendar should reflect this. I'll see if I can share my calendar on the screen, and you can see this applies for little kids too, and I'll show you why. But first, I'll just pull it up. This is especially good for mommies who are helping around the house and trying to get everyone organized in the same place. So let's see. This is my calendar. I am sometimes up as early as 4 a.m. and begin my day, and then I do my real rising ceremony. Just to get through the list, you could write this down on a sheet of paper. You can see that the main activity is going to be 70 hours, and you'll break that down into 50 hours and 20 hours. We'll get into each of those. And then you're going to schedule 30 hours of recovery and 18 hours of service. So you're going to have your recovery be things like your yoga, your midday reset here in the middle of the day, your real rising. This is I do posture and fascia workouts every single day. I do, behind the head, putting my a tongue in my cheek. I think his name's Gary Lynham. I'll put that up here in the chat. Google and watch this on YouTube. He is amazing. I think his channel is called Human Garage. It is really good for getting in touch with your body and really releasing the tension in the liquid, which is surrounding the muscle, which is called the fascia. I think I mentioned it once before. I get to make a lesson around just what the fascia actually is. But as you can see my calendar here, this Real Rising, everything before 8 a.m., I do not do work. So for these hours before Depending on the day, I might sleep till 6 or something. Um, and I always try to watch the sunrise if the weather accounts for it. It's been a little bit gloomy here the past couple of days, so I haven't really seen the sunrise. But then I go straight into my posture and my fascia, and then I work on, depending on the day, I might have already done this, but if fear did not exist, and self-image. So I really review my full documents. As you can see here, this is like all of my self-awareness documents. I have printed out my Genius U report. I printed out my human design. I printed out my one-page business plan, the whole 10 steps to alignment packet here, the wealth spectrum information, just everything I possibly could review. I have my astrology report printed out, and I review. Sometimes I review the entire thing at the beginning of the day. Sometimes I select a page, but I pretty much review almost the whole thing every single day. And then I also review my journalings and different things that I've created to bring myself closer into knowing myself, to bring myself deeper into alignment. So those are all parts of recovery. Midday reset, and then in the evening I do winding down and bedtime, and those are also parts of recovery. I also take, right before this, I took 20 minutes, 30 minutes before going live and doing class with you all today. I took a nice walk around, no phone, just breathing, really reflecting, allowing myself to come into a state of complete awareness just around what I've been experiencing emotionally, things that have come up, just important to do that. Now we can get into supplemental, or I guess we could say service based would be doing things that are like volunteering, having conversations with people that are not really around business or work or school or what you're learning or getting something out of it, right? Service, children, is giving of yourself. And really, when we are on purpose, we're living an entire life of service. But in order to, manage our time most effectively for our end goals, we will allot a specific amount of time to actually effectively divvy that time up, right? So our service becomes a practice where we are giving of ourselves truly, just giving without any expectation, without any hopes for anything else, with no ask at the end of it. You're not cleaning the house just to hope to get money from your gig like in Gravy Stack. You are baking muffins for your mom because she had a hard day, or you are washing the neighbor's car because you noticed it was dirty and you asked them if it would be helpful for you to clean it. These are things that are of service. You're not doing it because you want to start a car washing business. It's great if you're going to do that, but if that's what you're doing, then that goes more into your main tasks or your supplementals, to be able to be aware that that's just where that time allocation goes, right? So service, 18 hours a week. And then our main tasks are going to be in alignment with the 80-20 rule. So we have the main tasks here, and I'll go back to, not sharing the screen for a moment. Our main tasks here follow the 80-20 rule. So everybody listen up, because the 80-20 rule is very important and is kind of universally true, but not it's not a universal law. It's a rule, right? So it's not like everything in the world operates 80-20. But what I'll explain about being 80-20 is that 80% of your effort towards something, or your energy and focus towards something, if you're living an effortless, easeful life, is going to solve for 20% of the results. and reverse that. So 20% of your focused effort or focused attention and focused awareness is going to solve for 80% of the remainder. So I'll show you what that looks like on my calendar, right? Let's go back. Let's see. Here we go. So you look at my calendar and you see that I've got this big block of time allotted toward creation, right? And then I leave this time open from 9 till 11:30 to about 5 to 7. I leave it open just so that people can schedule on my calendar, but any time that I don't have calls on my calendar are times that I am creating, basically. So pretty much 80% of my time I'm creating for Earth School or for the community or for a business partner or for a client, right? I'm creating. And then the remainder of that time, I'm connecting. And so about 20% of my time I spend connecting. If you added up these, actually conversations end up going longer. You say you're going to have a 15-minute conversation with someone and it always ends up going longer if it's in alignment, which it always is when you're in alignment. But the point is that these are the calls that I have on the calendar, right? But the 20% of time and effort that it takes to do that solves for 80% of my results. So those conversations are so high level and so high in value that they are solving for 80% of the results that I have as my targets, as my goals. And in the reciprocal, the creation that I do, like right now is in the middle of creation. I consider this creation, right? This is something that it might not solve in the dollar amount for 80% of what I'm doing, but 80% of my focused attention and effort in creating it solves for 20% of that end goal and that end result. So that's something to be aware of and to know as we continue moving forward in creating our own 168 hours breakdown of the week, that this is what our end goal actually is, the 80-20. So I consider educate and create as one. So that's 80% of my time. And then 20% of my time is connecting with business partners. All of you who are within the ecosystem and the curriculum are people I, have scheduled time with, or maybe I'm creating the email newsletter that you received to get in that was scheduled during my connection time. You understand? So having awareness around that is super important. And that's how we allocate our time. So we have 50 hours to sleep, 70 hours for value, 30 hours for recovery, and 18 hours for service. You add that all up, you get 168 hours for your entire week. And what you do is, now that we already have our clarity and discipline and consistency done, you fill in the hours of the week with your daily disciplines. So some of our disciplines are disciplines for rest. Some of our disciplines are for disciplines for work. Some of our disciplines are disciplines for recovery and service, right? So these are all things that we incorporate in different aspects of our week to have awareness for how we're going to actually show up. And the thing is that, you can make mistakes in life. You can make choices that are not always in alignment or for your highest good. We all end up doing that every once in a while, right? But being able to return back to this sheet of paper and say, okay, I'm going to do my daily disciplines at least. Okay, I'm going to make sure that I, at the very least, have my midday reset, that I connect the right people. And then at the end of the week, we do a daily review, or at the end of the day, we do a daily review. In the beginning of the day, you do a review of how you want it to go. At the end of the day, you review how it went. And at the end of the week, you review how the whole week went and set your intention for the next week. And you just find new ways for improvement. You say, okay, this week I didn't quite get the people in the ecosystem that I was looking for. I'm going to show up a little bit differently this week, allow my energy to be more in alignment. And from that, I know that I'll be able to achieve and accomplish my goals more effectively. It's simple as that. We just take audit of ourselves and look at things from a very sober and realistic perspective. Whenever we do that, we're able to have a very clear state of awareness. Now, we're going to want to make sure that we block out 4 hours a day of deep work, right? So whatever that looks like for you, whatever your 80% is, you block out 4 hours a day for all of that. And you want to make sure that you take your rest days too. Like, for example, Thursdays are my days for healing and are very sacred. I keep those days just for myself. So I'm opening this up to see calculator. If we do 6 hours a day, 6 days a week, that's 24 hours. So that right there is a good amount, almost half of our main task. So if you do 2 blocks of 4 hours of deep work, that's your 8-hour workday, right? And then having in between all of that, service, maybe you do volunteering with Little Saint Nick on the weekends, or maybe in the evenings you work with, but making those gift bags for children in hospitals. Or maybe you have a partnership where you are going out and doing a food drive for the people in your community. Those are great examples of service, like community service, things that you are making a point that are in alignment with your passion and things that make sense for what it is that you are doing for your mission, right? We said that maybe your mission is ending world hunger. So a food drive would be something that makes sense to end world hunger. And that means that you're allocating your time to actually accomplish that, because we have control over our lives. We have control over how we show up in a week. And so that is the purpose of your 168. And remember, your 168, your CDC, which is your clarity, your discipline, and consistency, and your MVP, which is your mission, vision, and principles, all have to do with mastering the day, and they all work in tandem with one another, meaning they all work hand in hand, just like this. They say, okay, I know that my mastering the day, my CDC, my disciplines, and my 168 are all going to make so much sense together because I'm clear on what my mission is. I'm clear on what my vision is. I'm clear on my principles and how I show up, right? So this is extremely important to be able to put into practice. So this is really more of a homework assignment. This isn't something that we sit down and do like right now immediately together, because you get to sit down and really reflect. I like to do it in this grid with my 5 main goals, your time allocation, your daily disciplines, and then move in with your goals. Move in with your service, your recovery, your supplemental, your main task, and your 80-20 breakdown of that main task. So this is a big homework assignment. And remember that it's always a work in progress. You can, you see I wrote in pencil and then I wrote in pen. Like, there may be things that I added in there later on that I realized, okay, this makes sense with this. And then we get to look at it and say, okay, if something's not working, what am I not doing here? Or if something is working, what did I do well? It's always a work in progress. You can change it. It's yours. It's yours. That's the whole point. So, if you're going to regular school and you need to be better about being on top of your homework, set aside the time to do that. If you know you have a big test coming up, set aside the time to study it most effectively. And also set your time aside to play. You want to schedule in your fun, your recovery. What is it, the things that you're doing for joy? Put that on your calendar first. And that's the whole point, especially you moms. it's important for you to write all of these things out and then put it on your calendar. Don't just let it sit on a piece of paper that sits on the shelf like so many of these little exercises do. Put it in your calendar. Set a reminder. I know, like, if I, every single time, and you saw, excuse me, I did end up scheduling one call during my midday reset just because that's the time that they were available. But you know, I'm going to take an extra 15 minutes before or after. If it's noon, like today was the perfect example. I got an email came through at 11:58 and it was almost noon and I take my midday reset. I really wanted to just immediately respond to it, but I took a minute and I realized, okay, it's about to be noon. And I continued to move toward alignment within that. Even the awareness and recognition alone is alignment. So knowing that is extremely important, and having a way to actually continue being on top of our time. Our time is our most valuable asset, Earth's children. Our most valuable asset. An asset is something that puts money in your pocket. A liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. Are you using your time as the asset that it is? Or are you letting it be a liability? You got to be real with yourself. Are you letting your time take money away from you? A lot of people do. A lot of people look at their time as trading time for money. This is going to teach you how to trade value for money. That's why we say 70 hours is your main task, is value. See here, 70 hours, main task, value. Doesn't say 70 hours, go to work, does it? Especially for the children, like, this is why we're teaching you this, because you're going into a world where you don't have to have a 9-to-5 job. And if moms or, family members that are watching this, if you do have a job, there's nothing wrong with that. If that's something that makes you happy and makes you feel fulfilled in your life. What I'm speaking on is the fact that the majority of people don't feel fulfilled in their job. The majority. So with all the resources we have at our fingertips, why? Why? There's so many creative ways that we can create value in the world. Give and it shall be given to you. Seek and you shall find. Knock and the door shall be open unto you. For everyone who giveth shall receiveth. For each one who seeketh, he shall findeth. And for every single one that knocketh, the door shall be open. It's as marvelous and as simple as that. It's as marvelous and as simple as that. So going out into the world, creating value, building relationships, it's the most lucrative thing that we could possibly do. Lucrative means it makes you money. Let's look up the definition of the word lucrative. Producing a great deal of profit. Profit is the money that you get to keep out of the money that you make for your business. Your revenue is the money you bring in overall, but your profit you get to keep. You get to keep that. So if it's lucrative, it means it brings in a great deal of profit. Building relationships. That's why, what's my number one goal? Well, it's not why, but my number one goal is be a peaceful place for relationships. The reason why I made that my goal was not because I wanted to make more money, but of course I wanted to. Because I understand in my being that the more money I make, the more I'm in alignment with my mission. The more I am in alignment with my mission, meaning I'm able to serve more people. I am able to reach more people to serve more people. I'm able to give more resources. I'm able to create more jobs. I'm able to work with my partners more effectively. I'm able to buy more books to donate into the world. I'm able to build and give because I give and it shall be given unto me. I seek people like you who need help, who want help, so that I can find deeper parts of my own self as a reflection and a mirror to you. Seek and ye shall find. Knock I knock on the door of opportunity. Begin to knock on the door of love and ease, and ye shall find. It's right here in front of us right now. It's right here in front of you. What do you knock on? What door? These are all things you consider when you're doing your 168 hours of the week. You create your own life. Don't believe them when they tell you it's not true. And I can tell you one thing, it's way more important to have high quality people in your corner than it is to have a lot of people sitting in the bleachers watching you. They will have you fooled, beloved. They think that a viral TikTok is the thing that's going to get you there. It's way more important to have quality people in your corner. I would rather have a post on LinkedIn reach 3 people in my network who are actually in alignment and have them message me than I would have a video of me dancing going viral on TikTok for 1 million people to see. And you know what? I've had both of those things happen. So I'm speaking from experience. It's way more important to have high quality people around you. How do you attract the high quality people? You allocate your time properly. You remove all the distractions. If it doesn't feel right in your body, trust that. They're not teaching you how to do this in school. They're not teaching you how to trust your body, how to have a good enough relationship with yourself to know when your intuition is speaking, when your gut is trying to tell you something, and then to have enough confidence within yourself to really lean into that and just make your decision based on that. Not trying to have it be a logical explanation behind anything. Logic is super helpful as a tool, but intuition is equally important. And they're not teaching you how to use your your intuition, excuse me. We're teaching you how to trust your intuition here. And everybody's human design is totally different, right? So awareness of that as well. But making sure that you have all of the things in alignment for you is what matters the most. And that's why it's your 168 hours in a week. It's your way that you break that down. It's your main tasks. And if someone tells me, oh, you should be doing this, I can confidently say, no, I shouldn't. I didn't write that. That's not for me. You're talking to yourself. And that's fine. You can do that. You're either talking to something you should be doing, which I encourage you to do it, or you're trying to sell me on something. And I'm not here to buy what you're selling. I'm here to co-create with the people who are in alignment with me. I have had conversations with some of the highest level CEOs in the country this week. They messaged me. They texted me. This isn't me bragging. This is me telling you that we have those conversations. Neither one of us is talking about, oh, will you buy this from me? No. I mean, granted, of course, whenever your money flowing is the natural and organic next step of collaboration. I had a call with a mom today who wanted to join Earth School. We were talking, we're catching up. Oh, you were in Tobago. How was it? What were you doing? What was it like? Oh my goodness, please send me the video. I want to join Earth School. I'll pay my $48 and I'll see you on the other side. I didn't have to sell her anything. If you're watching this right now, you know who you are. But I'm just saying, as an example for business, get away from this idea that it's all transactional. It's so toxic. What happened to caring about each other? What happened to community? What happened to giving of yourself? Where did that go? When did they take that away from us? When the moms baked sourdough bread and had loaves and loaves and loaves of it, you think that the families in the neighborhood didn't want to bring them eggs and herbs in return? Or handing them dollars willingly? Where did that go? That's the problem that we solve here. A return to those kinds of mental capacities of understanding that when we contribute to the people in our community, we are being of service, and that service is rendered. If nobody has told you today, I love you. I deeply love you. I trust that all is well with you. And I just want you to know that you're in control of your life. So when they ask you all the questions you don't have answers to, don't allow yourself to feel pressure. You're asking yourself the questions that matter and coming up with your own answers. That is what counts the most. Okay? Love is law. Family. Family is business. Okay? I'll see you all tomorrow. We're going to talk a little bit more about that game that I mentioned, Gravy Stack, and the quarter system. It's going to be a good one. Get ready, because this is where we're going to start having a lot of fun. I love you so much. Have a